Okay, so on today's adventure, we are in Camden, Tennessee. Camden, Tennessee is in the western part of the state. And we are at the location where Patsy Cline's plane crashed on March 5th, 1963. They have a memorial set up here that's been here since 1996. So we're gonna go down and check it out. And this is my first time checking it out too, so thank you for joining, and let's go on this adventure together. Okay, it looks like there's a kind of a path going down here to another site possibly. Okay, so I'm gonna try to give a little bit of background here while we're heading down to what I believe is the crash site. March 5th, 1963, Patsy Cline played a concert in Kansas City, Kansas, and she was heading back to Nashville, Tennessee, and she boarded a plane along with two other lesser-known musicians, a guy named Cowboy Copas and Hawkshaw Hawkins. And along with pilot Randy Hughes, they boarded the plane heading back to Nashville. They stopped in Rogers, Arkansas to refuel, and then they stopped again in Dyersburg, Tennessee to refuel. They entered into what was to be the last leg of their flight, and unfortunately they hit some inclement weather, and we're standing right now where the plane crashed actually 60 years ago. 60 years ago this year. So March 5th, 1963, so this is kind of the anniversary year of this tragedy. From what I can understand, the pilot didn't have the knowledge that he should have had on some of the instruments, and there was zero visibility. I don't claim to be an aviation's expert whatsoever, but sometimes when you have zero visibility, you have to rely on your instruments to make sure that you're maintaining a level kind of flight with the ground. And if you don't have that knowledge or you're not paying attention, sometimes you can actually fly at a descent towards the ground without even knowing it. And this has happened in multiple plane crashes through the years. I think it played a role in the JFK Jr. crash. Most recently, the Kobe Bryant crash, even though that was a helicopter. Zero visibility, and without the pilot knowing it, you're going at a slight decline, and before you know it, you crash, and unfortunately, this is where she passed. Now, I do see a rock in front of us here. Let's go check it out. Oh wow. Okay. So this is kind of the this is the memorial here. So wow. On this site, March 5th, 1963, Patsy Cline, Cowboy Copas, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and the pilot Randy Hughes lost their lives in a plane crash in loving memory. And this was erected July 6th, 1996. You can see some people left some kind of tokens of their appreciation here. And from what I can understand, from what I've read, there was basically crash wreckage strewn all about here in this area. 160 feet by 130 feet by the reports. And let's take a look here. I'm not sure what the significance of this is. I don't know if this is where they actually found her body or what's going on here. But that's got to carry some level of importance. So here we are, kind of a deeply wooded area. So March 5th, 1963, when this crash occurred, a local farmer called the authorities and said, hey, I just heard a loud crash, and unfortunately due to the weather, they weren't able to locate the wreckage until the next day on March 6th, 1963. So one of the first responders who came out here, he gave an interview. If I can find that interview, I'll include it in the description below. But he gave kind of a graphic testimony. I won't include those details here of what he found out here. And it sounds like there was just complete carnage and wreckage in this entire area. And you don't have to be a coroner to understand that they all died instantly. And a crowd descended in this area when they realized who had passed away, and they started taking parts of the wreckage as souvenirs. Kind of distasteful, if you ask me. There's another guy who did a video out here not too long ago. If I can find that YouTube video, I'll include it in the description below. And he came out here with a metal detector, and he still was finding little pieces of the aircraft out here. He didn't take them home. He left them here out of respect. But I find that very interesting. That wreck was so devastating that there are little pieces of the wreck still out here to this day, 60 years later. Wow. So that's it. This is the Patsy Cline crash site from March 5th, 1963. Do you think Patsy Cline knew that 60 years later, people would still be listening to her music? I love the song Crazy. I love that song. By the way, here's a little trivia for you. Did you know the song Crazy was actually written for Patsy Cline, but it was written by Willie Nelson? Yes, that Willie Nelson. So the funny thing to me is, like, 60 years later, that guy's still cranking out music, still touring. He just played at a town near me, and he's still going all these years later. I mean, to me, that's just crazy. I do not apologize for that pun. So here we are going back up to the road, and again behind us, that is the Patsy Cline crash site from 1963. Anyway, thank you for joining me on today's adventure, and until next time, stay safe, and thanks for watching.